Welcome to Trojans Live, presented by Monster Energy on ESPN LA 710 and across the USC Trojans Media Network. I am Jordan Moore, Sean Cody Kessler, and the defensive coordinator, Lynn, joins us at the top of the show. Bye week, a perfect time to dig into this USC defense, fresh off the program's first shutout in 13 years. Monster Energy, the official energy drink partner of USC, tear into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet. Monster Energy Unleash the Beast. And our coach interview is presented by I Trust Capital, the official crypto platform of the USC Trojans. Thank you, Coach Lynn, for joining us. It was an impressive performance on Saturday night. What stood out to you? What were the highlights of what you saw on the defensive side of the ball?
Really just the effort, from the beginning of the game all the way until the end, and regardless of who was in the game. Like we told those guys at the end, like the Trojan standard is the standard. I don't care if you're a senior or a true freshman, a starter or a third string player. If you're in the game, the standard's the same. So I was just impressed that the guys played at the same level regardless of who was in the game.
Coach, I've been in a couple defensive rooms with defensive coordinators, and it seems that like when I was on the good defenses, we had markers we were shooting for, right? Whether it was sacks or yards and passing yardage or whatever was turnovers. What are some of the key markers for you when your defense is playing well? What numbers are you hitting?
Each week it's a little bit different. So we have our keys to win, and each opponent it's a little bit different. So it's always trying to find a way to limit big plays, to affect the quarterback and to stop the run. But each week, we try to do that a little bit different.
Or is it like a yardage number? I remember it being like more than 13 yards was like a big run, or like those kind of things.
For me, anything double digit to me is big. Like if they hit a 10-yard run, to me that's an explosive play. That's too much.
Coach, I got a question Sean's going to love. The defensive line has looked phenomenal through the first two games. They're playing very physical, doing a great job of controlling the line of scrimmage. What have you seen from that position group and their progression early on this season?
Really just consistency. When you strike blocks, when you're able to gap in a half, and when you're doing that consistently inside, that affects the way our linebackers play, that affects the way our DBs play, and that allows those guys just to play fast. So the more consistent we can be in there, which they have so far through the first two games, the better off we're going to be.
You're listening to USC defensive coordinator Lynn on Trojans Live. The point you made at the top about, the quote-unquote twos and threes is something we talked about on the broadcast. It is kind of the key to a shutout, right? Especially in a game like that. It's one thing if it was a super tight game and the ones stay in there the whole time. But in a game like that, it's about those guys still maintaining that level. And then the support from the guys on the sideline, it just seemed like they stayed engaged. Like that last series meant as much to the team as the first one did.
Exactly. The seniors on the sideline, they were just as excited as the guys who were out there on the field. But it was just cool for the guys who were out there on the field because they had a great camp. They just haven't got a chance to play yet. And some of those guys were doing scout team stuff all week. So now I'm going to the call sheet, and I'm like, okay, like my call sheet just got cut in half because they don't know what half this stuff is.
Coach, we've seen a progression in Anthony Lucas's game from last year. It looks like he's taken a step up. But what do you think has been the biggest step in his game, and how has he made that climb to the next level?
Man, he has a high ceiling. For him, it was just doing it every single play. He showed flashes, and that's something that we challenged him with. Like, listen, like you need to do it every single play. And he had a great spring, but he had an even better camp. And we're super excited about him. He's playing very physical against the run. He's rushing the quarterback better. We're going to start moving him across the line some. I think he's a guy who gives us a big advantage no matter who we're up against.
Coach, another player that's been very impressive early on this season is Kamari Ramsey back there at the safety position. And this is your second year with Kamari. What makes him such a great player and leader and a fit in your scheme?
He has great instincts. And I think there's a difference between smart people and smart football players. He's a guy who just understands the game. There's certain things that he just does that you don't have to coach. And having him be his second year in the scheme, I feel like he helped accelerate the back end in the spring. And by the time we were in camp in August, we were able to install some stuff that I wasn't able to install this past year just because, he helped speed up that process.
The player I wanted to talk about was Eric Gentry, as he's such an interesting player. We've seen him a little while now. The guys talk about him, they call him a unicorn, right, which has become something in sports. And that sounds great, and it is great. It means a player is uniquely talented. It's also difficult sometimes on a coach to find the exact right spot on a unicorn, right? I mean, sometimes it would be perfect to go, hey, that guy is built exactly how I would want a middle linebacker to be, or an outside rusher or safety or whatever. How have you tried to either tailor your system to him or fit him within your system so that he can use his gifts but not be at a place?
You know, the good thing about this scheme is versatility is something that we require. So I haven't really had a guy with versatility like him. You know, he can play a lot of different spots. So it does make it tough on us because we want to make sure that we're putting him in the best position and do what he does best, but we also want to keep offenses on their heels to where they can't just know what he's doing every single play because, you know, he can create issues in the pass game, he can create issues against the run, and he can rush the quarterback as well.
Yeah.
Coach, what's the communication with your coaching staff been? I know it's a new staff. You guys never played in the games before besides these last 2 games. And how's that in-game communications? I know sometimes coaches can get heated down there. You can go back and forth a little bit. D-line wants a linebacker coach. What's the communications been like between the coaches?
Man, it's been awesome. You know, I have a veteran staff. You have a former head coach. You have former coordinators. You have guys who have been in the NFL. So everyone's been professional. It's been calm on the sideline. Our biggest thing is let's make the corrections, and when the guys go back out there on the field, let's make sure they're feeling as confident as possible.
Coach, you guys have been phenomenal on third down, especially on Saturday night against the Aggies. They were 2 of 11 on third down and 0 for 2 on fourth down. What can you contribute, without giving too much away, to your success in that category?
I'm going to say the players being really locked in on situational ball. You know, there's certain weeks where, hey, if it's 3rd and 6 or if it's 3rd and 8, seems small, but that makes a big difference as far as what type of protections we're expecting, as far as what type of concepts. And the guys have been very, very locked into all that stuff. And I feel like, you know, small things like that over the course of time make a big difference.
Bye week coming up for the Trojans, then a trip to Michigan. You'll see we'll be back in the spotlight a week from Saturday. That's a 12:30 p.m. Pacific time kickoff here, but we'll be in Ann Arbor. Our show will start at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time across the USC Trojans Media Network. We'll talk to Coach about that and more coming up after the break on Trojans Live. Trojans Live is sponsored by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC football. Any Trojan fans celebrate every Trojan win and enjoy the sweet taste of victory with a free donut at Ralph's. The day after the win, download your digital coupon from the Ralph's app to score your free donut at any Los Angeles area Ralph's store. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Cody Kessler, Dan Lynn. Appreciate you staying with us here for a second segment, Coach. You have NFL experience, so you were used to this sort of the in-helmet communication that has been brought into college this year, but you didn't have it last year at UCLA. So having experienced it both ways, what's the biggest effect on the defensive side? I think we talk so much about the offensive side and being in the quarterback's head. What about you on the defensive side?
The biggest effect, I think it helps with tempo when offenses are trying to go fast. We still signal from the side, but sometimes the DBs can be so far away from the play, so we actually put it on the safety. So now we can tell him the call. Now he can direct everyone on the back end, and the Mike linebacker can get the signal, and he can control the front. I think it helps with situational ball, like we were just talking about, like third down. Like sometimes 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 8 can be a big difference. And it's the player's responsibility, but sometimes we can help them. So I might give them a call and just, hey, it's 3rd and 6 here, it's 3rd and 8, and just making sure that everyone on the field is aware of that.
And so far, who's mostly been the person wearing that helmet?
It's been Achille.
Oh, he will be next on Trojans Live.
He'll be next.
No teaser.
Does that cut off at 15 like it does,
It does
on the play clock on the offense?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
Coach, it's some of these young guys that got to play this last weekend, it was nice to see. You know, it's always good to get in early in the year, get some experience. So what are some of the guys that popped for you off the screen after that game?
Some of the guys up front, like Jade and Cam Fountain, those are guys, you know, their bodies have changed. The growth that they've made from spring to now at their age has been unbelievable. Some of the DBs, you had Conley out there, you had Marcellus, Marquise. Again, it's guys who have had good camps, and all those guys have bright futures, but we're just excited to see them actually get out there and do it in the game. And then Desmond Stevens, you know, he's the backup Mike. He doesn't look like a true freshman.
Guys he had in that blitz, and he got out of there, made a play on the ball. That was nice.
Good veteran play, but it's guys that we're excited about, and we just need to get as much playing time as possible.
Coach, what's your message to your defense going into this bye week? You know, you guys have gotten off to a great start, and it feels like you're in a rhythm and got the train rolling. How do you keep that momentum going into this week off?
Well, you know, the thing about the Big Ten is, like, you have to do it every single week.
Yeah.
So we're still focused on us, you know. So there's a lot of good stuff that we put on tape. There's also a lot of stuff that we need to correct. So it's looking at us. Okay, what can we do from a self scout standpoint as far as, how our team's going to look at this tape and attack us, and then how can we expand on our playbook getting prepared for the Big Ten, because our next, string of opponents are going to be very different than LSU and Utah State.
We've seen you rotate a bunch at corner in the first couple games. Is that still an open competition? Do you like to sort of rotate through, 4 guys typically in a game, no matter what the personnel is? How do you usually approach that position?
Yeah, we try to rotate guys. We want to keep guys fresh, and there's just more plays in college. Our first couple games haven't been too bad, but there's going to be games where it's 80, 90 plays. So you want to keep guys fresh, and you also want to keep developing guys. So we're probably always going to play 3 to 4 in corners. We'll play 3 safeties. We'll always try to make sure we have a good rotation up front to keep guys fresh.
Coach, we're looking down the line a little bit, but first true road game coming up, Big Ten conference starting to play. Anything changed for defensively when you go into a tough road environment?
No, I think, we have to have that mentality every single week, like our backs against the wall. It doesn't matter if it's a home game or road. We have to have that same mentality every week.
Coach, another guy I want to talk about, and Akili knows him well, is Easton Mascarenas-Arnold. A phenomenal football player. We know how well he can tackle, but I don't think he gets enough credit for the athlete that he is. He does such a great job of moving sideline to sideline. We saw that against Utah State on Saturday. How important has he been in the middle of your defense?
He's been huge. Having a smart Mike and having 2 smart safeties, it allows you to do a lot from a coverage standpoint. And, he's been huge because, like I said, I give the call to Akili, and then we signal to Easton, and Easton gets the front set. He makes all the checks. He's doing all the audibles, so he's kind of like the head coach out there, and he's been doing a great job.
You're listening to USC defensive coordinator Danton Lynn on Trojans Live. Trojans have a bye this Saturday. Michigan does not. They play. Will you watch the game live? Will you casually watch it and then ultimately dive into the tape? Or what do you do in a situation like that?
I'll probably casually watch the game, and then I'll watch the TV copy, and I'll watch the game on tape the next day.
Coach, we've seen you on the field with the players. You seem like you're having a good time. You're interacting with them. I've seen a couple handshakes now. When's the time to get in there?
Do you want a cool handshake,
I would like to develop a handshake eventually. I know we're early in the season. We got a bye week, so we'll have some time. But where's that interaction when you guys get a chance to work in the handshakes?
So Cam Fountain was one of the first kids I recruited when I got the job here. He was actually my second home visit ever.
Oh, wow.
So love Cam to death. He made that handshake up during camp. I did not know it was going to be on camera. So
now everyone wants one. Now you have to remember a lot of handshakes coming up, Coach.
Coach, it can be difficult with a new staff, especially in year one, but that does not seem to be the case at all with your group. How important has your position coaches been, in contributing to the success you guys have had through these first 2 games?
They've been huge. Like, I got very spoiled. I feel like I have the best staff in the country. Each coach, like I said, has either been in the NFL, been a head coach, or been a coordinator.
Wow. And
when we put the system together, you just have so many ideas from different teams that it really is. It's not my scheme; it's ours. There's influence from North Dakota State. There's influence from the Rams. There's influence from Houston. There's influence from Michigan and from what USC was doing before from Coach Nua. So it's kind of been a blend of everybody, and it's a group of good people, good guys. They put the team before their ego, and I got spoiled.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What were the conversations like when you arrived with the guys that had already been here, right? I mean, I think there's that, idea that, especially with the portal now, that you could just bring in your own guys, and you brought in a couple of guys that, that played your system, but it seems to us the key is not only that, it's the development, right? We have seen guys immediately buy in. Gentry so much better, Cobb so much better, Anthony Lucas we talked about. What were those conversations like with those guys as, they had committed to USC, a year before you?
Development is the most important thing, and the biggest thing was listen, our scheme's going to be good, but it's not what we do, it's how we do it. It's how we take on blocks. It's how we backpedal, how we press, how we tackle, how we're reading the offensive line. At the end of the day, you can do a lot of cool stuff from a coverage or a pressure standpoint, but a lot of good defenses have had success doing a lot of different things. But if you look at it, there's a common theme, and it's the way that they play.
Well, I know it's only been 2 games, but the feedback from every single USC fan is how excited they are to watch when the team doesn't have the ball now. They love watching defense again. You're bringing that back to the Coliseum. A shutout certainly on Saturday night made everyone happy. So enjoy the bye week. Good luck in Ann Arbor, and we will talk to you soon about that. When you've got good beer and good vibes, it's all Buena. Stone Buena Vesa Salt and Lime Lager is Baja-inspired and imported from San Diego, located near you at fine.stonebrewing.com. We already teased it, but Achille Arnold is next on Trojans Live.